Hey guys, Christian Corwell, CCR, back for posterior delts. As mentioned in the previous video, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that we can really focus in and isolate the posterior head of the shoulder. Arguably the most difficult exercise in the entire gym to get right. So the first way I'm going to show you is the conventional way, perhaps for those who aren't beginners and who have been doing this a while. I'm going to do it in the standing position, followed by the bench position, which is more for the beginner who really wants to isolate that rear head. Weight selection, really important. Just remember, nothing too heavy. Something that you can hit a rep range of about 15 to 20 in and be able to really control. So I'm gonna break from the hips. You'll feel a stretch through the hamstring. In the reflection of the mirror, I'm gonna be able to see the tops of my shoulders, or just the top of the rear head. Then I know I'm articulating enough through my axis of rotation, which is my hips. I'm gonna turn the dumbbells inwards. I'm gonna lead with my small fingers. I'm also thinking about holding my shoulders in place, not using my scapulars to move the shoulders. I'm going to abduct from the medial line, but I'm not going to abduct too high. I'm actually focusing on separating the weights apart as opposed to lifting the weights. So I'm keeping my arms fixed in one locked position, semi-bent through the elbows. Once again, leading with the small fingers and the elbow, not articulating too high. You can see the rear head is popping. Now, if I come up too high, you'll see my scapula starting to pinch. That's what we don't want. That's what I see a lot happen. That's very common in the gym. Unfortunately, that's not a true isolation. We just want to focus on what looks like a partial movement. And in fact, it is. That's all my rear head, that's all the posterior head can do, is articulate in this range here. Once again, anything above that, and I'm pinching the scapula. No good. Leading forward with the elbow as well. So you'll see from the side view that the elbows are flaring forward. And again, 20 reps, I'm really starting to feel that. What we don't want to see as well is torso movement. So none of this. See a lot of that. A lot of flying with the elbows high, no good. It's a lot of back work. Just articulate through the shoulder joint. And that's posterior head there. Really, I'm fizzing out now. That's it. In the next portion of this video, I'm going to show you the prone bench version, which will actually require slightly less weight because it's even more of an isolation. Okay, for the second portion of this video, what I would call the beginner's approach to the posterior raise. It's going to take a prone position on this bench, which is about a 45-degree angle. I'm going to lie down with my chest flat. I've now removed the ability to use my torso. So it's a pure isolation here. I'm just going to rest my chin on the end of the bench and allow my shoulders to wrap around the bench, and then going to stay there. From here, I'm just going to separate the weights apart. Keep the tension on the posterior head. I can feel that already. You'll notice that there's no scapular movement. Very little scapular movement, if any. The only other points to consider are that my elbow is actually moving forward of me as I articulate, as I separate these weights. That really helps hone in on that posterior head. If the elbows move behind me, that's still okay. I can still feel a good isolation there too, but I thoroughly recommend moving forward of the body with the elbow. That really hits that posterior head even more, and that contraction's much harder. Once again, I'm coming to an end here. I'm just gonna rep this out. And I'm done. And you can see I mean, there's really not much I need to do to show you. That's very inflamed from 2 sets. So there's the, I can't reach. So there's that posterior head. Really well isolated. Again, 3 to 4 sets. Look at a rep range of 15 to 20. Try to increase the time under tension ahead of increasing weight week after week. So that's how I would progressively overload. Being an isolation exercise, consider volume before you consider increasing weight. Until the next exercise.